everyone, my name is Nikhil Abraham and I'm currently studying in the 11th grade at Global Indian International School, Bangalore. It is common to be asked what you intend to study in college the moment you enter high school. I've been facing the same question, and although I have a broad understanding, it is difficult to narrow down in the specifics. It gets a bit frustrating at times, especially when you're at the crossroad of deciding between two or more academic areas of interest. So, I thought it would be helpful to create this platform through which I interview various professionals of different academic backgrounds and careers, so that students like me can benefit from the information shared and get a better understanding and a perspective of where their interests lie and how to go about the exploratory procedures. For today's interview, the spotlight is on Bushnin Patel. Don't mind me reading because Bushnin has done awful lot of stuff in her life, and it's too hard to learn everything up. So here we go. Bushnin Patel is a college admissions advisor, education and teaching professional with a demonstrated history of working in the higher education industry. She has previously worked with the Indian Institute of Technology Madras and a few other educational institutions. Bushnan is an ardent learner, currently exploring various facets of pedagogy and instruction. She graduated with a BSc in Life Sciences from KC College, Mumbai, and an MSc in Applied Genetics, ranking third from the Oxford College of Science, Bangalore University. She has a postgraduate diploma in higher education and a Cambridge International Diploma in Teaching and Learning. Bushnin is skilled in academic writing, editing, concepts in the biology and life sciences, pedagogy, and communication. Hi, Bushnin, how are you?
Hi, Nikhil. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really great. So, should we get started?
Yes, would love to.
Okay, so basically the general area which you work with is biology, right? The
Yes,
general field.
yes.
Okay, so my first question would be like, how you got interested in biology? Like, what
Yeah.
kindled that flame?
So that's a very interesting question. I've been a crazy biologist since I was a toddler. I was fascinated by
Okay.
bugs. Like if I just put it in a very funny way, I was just fascinated by bugs to start with
Okay.
cockroaches. So I used to hunt bugs down in my backyard and garden. I was completely fascinated with animals. I used to just go and look at, cats and dogs and just figure out why do they have teeth and why a cockroach doesn't have teeth and things like that. I was just curious. I was absolutely curious. And in my school, I was in Mumbai, and then later we used to visit my grandparents in Kerala, and it was amazing to see the different set of animals and plants. Like Bombay has a
Yeah,
very
the
different set of,
biodiversity.
yeah, absolutely. So that was very interesting to me.
Okay, so in when you were younger, did you
Mhm.
have any other subjects or areas that you were interested in, like apart
So
from biology?
so amazingly, apart from biology, I think I like English because English is
Okay,
obviously it helps me understand things better. Second, I would say music. I just love
oh,
music. I
okay.
still love music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah, at school I only like biology.
Okay, so you did your bachelor's in life sciences, am I right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so um, how did you find the course that you did? Was it like how you expected to be in
Right.
like
Yeah.
uh,
So
so when you were younger, did you think
Mhm.
all the materials that you're going to learn was it what you learned in college at that time?
Right. So when I was in 12th grade and I wasn't, I was not sure what I need to do, but the only subject that I was excelling and also loved was biology, like I said. So my teacher suggested that I should take up biology. Like, it was a trend around when the time I was taking up, graduation. It was a trend to go to engineering. Engineering was the trend, and I was not
Yeah,
really good at math. Yeah, but plus I loved biology, so I didn't want to take up the combination of both, so I took up only biology and went ahead with the life science program. So this program at Mumbai University had a lot of diverse subjects in biology. Like, do you know
Hmm.
immunology and genetics?
Immunology, like how
Yes.
the body fights against the
Yes, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
disease
So
germs and stuff.
yes, so I learned a lot of botany, zoology, neurobiology, immunology, genetics. So it was a lot of fun. So what was really fun for me was to learn about the intricacies of biological systems and how all us organisms are kind of interlinked. So that was really
Oh.
fun for me. So
So
yeah,
your syllabus kind of included all, like the
yes.
whole entire spectrum of biology, right?
Yeah, that is why I went
From
ahead with life sciences. Like I said,
okay,
I was interested in the whole thing. So I
yeah,
went ahead with life sciences and not choose a specific area. Like I did not go for genetics or neurobiology in my
hmm.
undergrad. I went ahead with life sciences and also did an honors in biochemistry. So I kind of understood what happens inside living organisms and actually all living organisms, including
Okay, yeah.
plants and microorganisms. Yeah.
So it's like a broad category where you get to
Yes.
understand everything.
Absolutely.
Okay,
It had lots
yeah,
of subjects, lots of fun things to do.
yeah. So after your undergrad,
Mhm.
did you do anything before your masters, or did you do something in between? So you suppose an internship or something like that.
Right. So during my undergrad, there was a research program by the University Grants Commission India.
Okay.
So I was selected for that, and that's how I got my honors degree. So I did a lot of research. Like I started my research at 17. So that's what college gave me. Like college introduced me to this amazing world of research, where I understood that to kind of learn a subject, you have to do a little bit of research, a little bit of reading, writing.
Yeah.
So that's where I got into this, and I didn't do any kind of internship during the college because
Okay.
3 years of my BSc went into learning, because like I said, it was a broad area, so there was a lot of classes to take, and plus I did this research project, and right after my graduation, the undergrad, I went into a master's program. Yeah.
Okay. So you said you did a research, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. What exactly did you research in?
Uh, that was a fun. That was so fun. I was just 17, so we weren't really. Nobody would give us consent to talk to patients because minors are not
Okay.
allowed to deal with
Yeah.
doctors. So the nearest hospital from near my college was Breach Candy Hospital. So we couldn't really go and get in touch with patients on, and doctors would just shoo us away because we were just like minors. So what
Hmm.
I decided to do is, while I was like, getting disappointed and on my way back home, I kind of went to a pet shop and I saw a zebra fish. Have you seen a zebra fish? Like it's
A what fish?
a
Beg your
zebra
pardon?
fish. ZEBRA,
Oh,
a zebra.
okay, yeah, a
Yeah.
zebra fish.
Mhm. So I was like really interested because this fish looked really funny,
Huh.
and like it looked like an animal but a fish. I hope you understand what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I just
and
went and discussed this with my teacher. I just asked her, like, could we do some research on it? And that's when I
okay,
came to learn that this is a model organism for research. Like, that's when I understood that there are organisms which are considered as model organisms for research. And I
okay,
did research on calcium and zinc and vitamin D deficiencies and absorption in zebrafish. That was my research topic.
okay. Yeah, so that's really really cool. So, I heard you say model organism. Is that something like, which is that an organism which you can do research on? Like, is it
Yes.
easier to do research on?
Yes, so,
Okay,
so these are organisms which have like simpler biological systems. Like,
okay,
a jellyfish is sometimes considered as a model organism, or Drosophila melanogaster. That's a the fly you see on bananas. Like,
yeah, okay,
yeah,
yeah,
like
the
I said,
small,
I've been, yeah,
yeah,
like I said, I've been crazy about bugs all my
hmm,
life. So these flies and this also C. elegans, these are all just microorganisms, and also some, they're not large organisms, they're smaller organisms, and they have simple biological systems. So it's easy to study them and find out what goes on in them, so we get an idea of what goes on in complex beings. That's why these
okay,
are model organisms.
okay, okay, yeah, understood. So, you moved on to do a master's in applied genetics, am I right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it something you did in your previous undergrad that kind of sparked
Mhm.
that interest in
Yes,
genetics, or
yes.
did you do some other research?
No, I did not do any research in genetics per se during my undergrad, but the whole idea of model organisms and how these organisms sort of are the blueprint for us to
Yeah.
understand complex organisms
Mhm.
kind of helped me. I went down this rabbit hole understanding what's a blueprint of life. Like
Yeah.
where does this go? When does how does one know about these? And one of my first the conferences I attended in the Mumbai University was on genetics, so that kind of got me into genetics, and I aced the subject. Like I even got great marks in
Oh
genetics in
wow.
my undergrad. So that's why I
Okay.
decided I should. But I was contemplating between maybe neurosciences or genetics, but
Yes.
then I chose applied genetics.
Okay. How come you didn't take neuroscience?
So my only argument was neurosciences has a small aspect of genetics, but genetics
Hmm.
plays a big role in neuroscience.
Okay, yeah.
so,
So it's
so
like
on that in that fight, genetics won.
okay. So can you tell me what it is exactly that you did in the applied genetics course? What is the syllabus and content of that
Right.
course?
So we learned a lot about, so it started from the Human Genome Project. So it's how the human genes were decoded and kind of understanding, do we have only, like, where are the genes? What are genes? The number of genes, chromosomes, their connections, and also applications of it. Like, there are lots of gene therapies. There are lots of, even the whole COVID, when we kind of
Mhm.
look at how COVID was found out, that was
Yeah.
RT-PCR, and 6 7 months of my life I was only doing RT-PCR in college.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so that was it was also one of the so there was diagnosis. So if I just like streamline this, there was theoretical genetics, then there was applied genetics, there was biostatistics in biogenetics, and there
Okay.
was
So
also this.
many different fields.
Yes, so many different fields, and also medical genetics, which was one of
Okay.
my favorites, like looking at problems and finding out the diagnosis, just looking at the genetic
Mhm.
predisposition of any condition. Yeah.
Okay. So the medical genetics, is that what it is?
Yeah, medical genetics. Yeah.
Okay. So it helped you diagnose like the diseases
Yes.
of
So what?
patients.
Yeah. So
They
what
have
we
different
do.
strains, right?
Sorry, I
Something
didn't
like
let you
that.
finish.
They have different strains or something, so you can identify them through that. Is it something like
Right.
that?
So when you think of medical genetics, it sounds too complicated, but it's actually looking at what is your predisposition. Like even the simple genes like tall, the height genes or say eye color genes. These are all
Yeah.
genetics, and these
Yeah.
are medical genetics. So just
Okay.
understanding that we get a set of genes from our parents, and how the interconnection, how the intercombination, so it's very intricate, and it's like it's in a different fashion. So everybody represents genes in different fashions, though we all have the same chromosomes. So
Okay.
that's what makes organisms unique. So every generation, every offspring is unique. So
Yeah.
that was really interesting when I was exploring medical genetics.
Got it. So you did applied genetics. So I
Mhm,
understood the genetics part, but
mhm,
the applied part, like
mhm.
applied genetics. So does that refer to the uses of genetics,
Yes, yes.
like the medical side and the
Mhm.
diagnosis side? It refers to
Yes,
that, right?
so it refers to both things. So one would be the diagnosis side. Second would be understanding theories. Like when you look at populations, when you look at why certain populations drifted from areas, or when you look at race studies, like
Mhm.
anthropology is also a field that's a part of genetics. Like you look at certain people's behavior, certain people's food habits, certain people's just way of life, the lifestyle. These are all associated with genetics. So that kind of makes us what we are when we are like a one cell organism.
Yeah.
So when I was it's amazing to me to know that when I was a one cell organism, my fate was predetermined by my genes.
Yes,
Yeah, I hope that makes
completely.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that understood. Okay, so moving on, after
Mhm.
masters, did you do anything else before you started your career journey?
Right. So I was into teaching, like for a couple of years. I was into teaching. So I've been
Okay.
biology teacher for a lot of schools in Mumbai and Bangalore.
Mm.
And then I
Yeah.
went on to kind of, like I said, my interest sparked in research. So I went on to take up be a educational data analyst at IIT Madras, and then
Okay.
also continued. Like I just continued interacting with students. So I really enjoy the process of connecting with students, learning what they have to, it's always a learning, teaching process for me. And right
Yeah.
now I work as a college admissions advisor, and I enjoy my time with students, helping them figure out what's their perfect major and kind
Okay.
of figure
Yeah.
out what they want to do with their life, help them with their research. So I enjoy being the research guide right now.
Okay. So you were a data analyst in
Mhm.
where again?
IIT Madras.
Okay, so yeah, what exactly did you do there? Like what uh,
Right.
analysis did you do?
So some part of it of this data is confidential, so I can't reveal everything about what happened went
Okay,
on there. But
yeah,
we were analyzing data of how students pursue research and how to make the whole process of research easy and accessible to say undergrad, postgrad, and PhD students. So me and my team were working on this whole process of helping students perform better with their research and helping them out with their resources. So I was
okay,
primarily in the data collection part where I would talk to people and collect the data. Again, it's
mm,
confidential, so I can reveal the true
yeah,
nature of
okay,
the job.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you helped make it easier for students to do research. Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
yes, yeah.
okay, yeah. So
Mhm.
how do you find the job that you're doing? Is it still how is it still interesting? Do you like it?
The
Spreading knowledge
admissions,
and helping with
absolutely, absolutely, yes.
okay,
So I enjoy connecting with students, and it's always a learning process for me and them. So there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of knowledge to discuss. So it's always fun. Yeah, interacting with students is fun.
yeah, okay. So um your college mates, right? And
Mhm.
your friends and college mates. So
Yes.
when they finish their life sciences or their applied genetics course,
Mhm.
do they move in a different direction than you? Like,
Yes.
what do they do? Yeah.
Right. So that's like really interesting. So I have college mates who do a wide range of things. I've there are people who went on to become writers, like scientific writers, people who have
Okay. Yeah.
helped with writing and articulating
Hmm.
concepts, complex
Okay.
concepts in science. And then there are also people who went into clinical research, proper hardcore research where they're working in labs the whole day.
Labs. Yeah.
So some of my friends did also play a role in, like, they were involved in this RT-PCR. Like I said, we did a lot of RT-PCR in our back in our days. So they are like experts doing RT-PCR, and they have been very busy during this COVID period doing RT-PCRs. And I have also friends with like teachers, and some have gone into proper geneticists, like they do decode genes on a daily basis,
Okay.
and
Oh,
some even went ahead and started companies, like they become entrepreneurs. So a wide
entrepreneurs.
range of
Okay.
people, yeah. So
That's really interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, so basically the different area and different things you can
Mhm.
do are maybe scientific writing, is that right?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yeah.
clinical research,
Hmm.
and then uh, yeah, entrepreneurship, as you said. Uh,
Entrepreneurship, yeah.
yeah. So what exactly have they started up? What uh,
You're talking about the
company?
entrepreneurship?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. Is it
So
something related to that, or
yeah, some yes, some no. Some completely left the subject and went ahead to do
yeah?
something else. But a lot of people stayed into the whole pharmaceutical chemical
Okay.
industry, because we did learn a lot about biochemistry. So there was a lot of
Hmm.
chemistry involvement and understanding how
Yeah.
chemicals play a role in biological beings. So that's where a lot of them went into. So all the entrepreneurs that I know about did start something to do with the pharmacy. Like, it's all about it. Some have small businesses. Some even came up with tests, and so they do standardized tests. They do diagnostic tests. So it's like
Okay.
a pharmaceutical industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pharmaceutical industry.
Mhm.
Okay. And you said some of them also decode genes on a
Yes.
daily basis.
Yes.
So what exactly do they do after they decode the genes?
Right. So when you're decoding the gene, so do you know the recent cancer studies like that is done in the NHS? So what they did was understand what happens with the genes, like look at the genes and see how fast they're mutating, and kind of
Okay.
understanding the mutation rate helps us determine the kind of precedence of when the disease would start, right? So
Okay.
I have a friend who works in cancer research. So what she does is she kind of understands if genes kind of what is the combination of genes which is not ideal for this kind of cancer, for a specific kind of
Okay.
cancer,
Yeah.
and helps kind of gives a list of gene therapies, like what can be the therapies, or can we cut out this gene or inactivate that gene, things like
Hmm.
that. Though it sounds very simple, it's a very complicated process, because you get the whole 36,000 genes when you're just with a drop of blood. So
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
all in there. So there's a lot of microscopic analysis going on. There's a lot of imaging going on. So there's a lot of work,
A lot of
and
details. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of details. Yeah.
So they basically uh, how do you say it? They decode the gene so that they can find out. Uh, so in this case, they can find out how to minimize the effect of cancer or
Yes.
what it affects the most, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like some genes are connected to, say, hepatic cells. So that means they are connected
Mm,
directly to the liver cells, right?
okay.
Some genes are connected directly to the RBCs. So
Mm,
what this kind of research helps is to find out if we silence or stop or kind of block one gene, would that kind
mm,
of sort of have an effect on the
uh,
cell?
okay. Yeah.
And this is not
And
done on humans yet, because this is
uh,
not something. So that's where they have to
still
go to
under.
clinical trials. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's when we use
Trials.
the model organism.
Okay. Yeah. The model again.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really interesting what you've done and how far you've come in life. So I think that's about it for today's interview.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for being here.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for inviting me. I had a fun time with you.
Yeah,
All right.
I
Thank you
actually
so
learned
much.
a lot. Yeah, model organisms, basically what the courses you did were about. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much.